Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Twin Flame Chronicles, where we like to make fun of the Twin Flame journey and talk about our experience. I'm Betsy with Fearless Intuition. We have Amanda. We were just talking, and I was giggling about when we started is we were talking about the Young Living essential oils. And I told her that I didn't. She was like, you need to mention those. So if anybody's interested in the essential oils, they can purchase them from you or they can purchase them from me. And I was like, but I don't sell them because I can't take anything else on. She was making fun of me. So that's what we were giggling about before I even started the recording. And I am wearing one of my new shirts, Love Rewards the Brave, which is very fitting for the twin flame journey. Because this is like you have to be the bravest soul on the planet to be a twin flame.
And your jewelry. You're coming out with jewelry too.
I am, but it's not even ready yet. Like this was made for me. My little crystal necklace.
It's so pretty though.
It is so pretty. And we're really excited. He's actually working on the other crystal stuff that we're going to be selling, but I don't have any product yet to show. So, but this is kind of like a starting off.
Coming soon. Like the Disney movies where it's like coming soon, and then you see like the Disney symbol.
Yeah, the castle, right?
Yeah. We're magical.
So, we're going to talk about the terms. Twin flame terms. The labels, all of the labels that are used along the twin flame journey and why it's a bunch of bullshit and crap, and that there's really no reason to subscribe to any of the labels because they don't really mean anything. They were man-made, and I feel like, this is my personal opinion, I feel like the labels make us subscribe to a belief system much in the way a religion will label a person and make them subscribe to a belief system. Like, if you feel this certain connection, if you have this and this and this in common or whatever, like it's really frustrating to me when I see a video of a list.
Yes, it's almost like a checklist, and
yes.
It's like,
and people
throw it out the door.
Watch the video, and even if that, like, they'll try to make that checklist relate to their, like, I've actually heard people say, well, these are like, they call them the symptoms. The checklist is these are the symptoms of a twin flame relationship. And man, we really should have come up with that. We really should have like watched one of the videos and had the list.
And then had the list, yeah.
We'll have to think that on another one.
Yeah.
Another video.
Or like leave comments for common terms, or what was your checklist for like how you determined? Yeah. Because
I've actually had people say, well, this goes to me, this goes to us, this goes to us, this goes, and I'm like looking at them saying, what relationship are you in? Because that does not go with you guys. Like people I was really close to, and they're like, oh no, he's my twin flame because of this, and this. And I'm like, well, first of all, that checklist is kind of dumb. Sorry for the people that do checklists for twin flames. I don't think you're all dumb. I like there's a general like idea.
But I think it's like when you subscribe to that, it's less about following your gut and your intuition and what you know to be true, which is what you focus on, like your one-on-one alignment sessions is, okay, you not having to go seek out external like verification for this relationship that you're in, because you just know in your gut that you know what's true. Yeah. Like,
you see how I did that? Sorry.
No, I didn't.
Like,
is it fancy?
So that you can see the fearless intuition.
I didn't, because my little box is still right in front of me. You always put it right behind my face.
That's really funny. Here, while I drink it. There you go.
Yes, there you go. But yeah, I feel like when we start like creating these lists for like, okay, well, so no, we're in the runner chaser phase and this, that, and the other, which, can we talk about the runner chaser phase? Because
you know what the runner chaser phase is? You know what the runner chaser phase is? The runner chaser phase is one person not giving a rat's ass about the other person and the other person being really super obsessed about the person that doesn't give a rat's ass about them. That's the runner chaser phase.
Yep.
And for somebody to be like, I am going to be so obsessed with somebody that treats me like crap and runs away from me and doesn't treat me. This is why I'm always like, if they don't choose you every day, like if there's no love there, if it's clear to you and they have said to you, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. There's nothing about this that I'm like in. Like I'm not in this. You don't chase after that person. Like you don't wait for some. I don't. Let's talk. You tell me.
So, and it's so funny because like, and I feel like I've used the term before because like, I feel like I did the runner chaser thing with John, but at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily a runner chaser thing. And now that I think about like, now that I'm where I'm at in our relationship, it's kind of like, that wasn't runner chaser. That was my dark night of the soul leading up to my alignment and my spiritual awakening. That wasn't a freaking runner chaser phase. So let's just eliminate that term and call it what it is he was going through his stuff. I was going through mine and I was getting myself together.
Exactly. Well, but I feel like there's a misconception with it because people think, like seriously, people think that it's a twin flame just because the guy doesn't want anything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard for me to get some people to understand that if somebody clearly doesn't want to have anything to do with you, you do not go after them. You don't go after that energy. What you do is align to your own energy, grow yourself, but there is no such thing as chasing a runner. A runner, there's no such thing as a runner. That means that boy bye. You know, like let him go. Like
right. It means that he's living and you're obsessing.
Here's a hint.
Yeah.
Here's the hint.
Because while they're running, they're living their best life and you're obsessing over something and making yourself mentally sick. Yeah.
And you're stuck and you're not moving and you're not growing yourself because you're waiting for this person to come back who's never going to come back. And if they do come, okay, so here, let's check this. The person that goes away, and the one that keeps coming back, right? So, because then people will say to me, this is like one of my favorite parts. Then people will say to me, but he does come back to me. And I'm like, but does he come back to you as old boy or does he come back to you correct and brand spanking new? Because if he hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form, and he's showing up in the same way that he was before, your vibration and your energy is exactly the same as it was before. And nothing changed. And you're going to go through a cycle and it's going to happen again and he's going to go away and then you're going to keep doing this. And you know how I know that dance? Because I did it for years.
And with me,
not just with one person, I did it with everybody.
With me, when John, and it's funny because like every time John came back during those phases, he came back a little different every time. It wasn't the same every time.
Yeah.
And he would go away and deal with what he needed to deal with. And then he would come back and he would be a little bit different and ask a little more questions and dig a little deeper and start to get a little, it's like a dance almost that you have to, like dancing.
I did the dance.
I was going to say, I don't know what the twin flame dance, is that going to be the new thing? All the kids are doing it now, the twin flame dance.
Yes.
But yeah, so every time he would go away and come back, there was this little bit of difference that it just took us these baby steps to get to where we are. And where we are is not harmonious union, which is our other favorite term that we were talking about.
The next phase of the next
crap.
Once you're in union,
the next phase of
crap.
crap.
Have a whole bunch of crap that you have to go through, and then you're in harmonious union.
To me, harmonious union means that you're dead and you've moved on, and you are in. You are in the afterlife.
To the other side.
Yes, exactly. Like you're in this harmonious space of reviewing your 3D life.
Yeah.
And
I honestly have no idea how it's possible to have harmonious union in the 3D.
no.
Like, because even when you are in union with your twin flame and you're married and you have kids and you, or not even have kids or whatever, whatever your soul contract, which is another really fun term,
Yeah.
tells you, whatever it is that you wrote for your life and what your twin wrote, whatever that means doesn't mean that life is perfect. And it never will be in the 3D. And why is that? Because we're human.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all flawed. And I remember that we had this discussion where this is a constant healing journey until the day you transition over and you pass away. You are healing every part of you. Why do you think people will say, what is it that you want to be able to be grateful for on your deathbed? Are you going to regret anything on your deathbed? That kind of, because you are literally learning and growing and evolving every single day until that day of being on your deathbed. I don't feel like you can be in, I mean, like, because you think of harmonious and it's like harps and angels and
bliss every day you wake up and birds bringing your robe.
My angel wings on my head. I don't know, I guess.
They're not on your back. Yours are like,
no, they're on my head.
Like,
I don't even know. That was like, that was interesting.
But yeah, I completely agree. It makes, I don't know, to me, the term harmonious union means that you've healed everything, that you've worked through everything, that there is not a day that you don't wake up and you were just in this state of bliss. And to me, that's not living. Like, it's the trials and all of the mess that you have to go through with another person that helps you heal as a person, helps them heal, helps you heal other people. And it just makes zero sense to me that you just somehow exist. Because what fun is that to just exist? That seems like you're medicated and just walking around, you know? Like
we're on constant what's a really good one? We're on
lithium.
I don't even know. Lithium's not a good one.
I was gonna say I've never.
How do I know that? Because I was medicated with lithium at one point in my life, and it literally made me go crazy. Like, it made me crazier than I was already crazy. I can be honest about that. We had this discussion too. Like, that's so funny. Before we turned on the camera, we talked about how I was misdiagnosed bipolar in my 20s, and I was literally medicated for over a decade. And so I was actually medicine-induced bipolar. And because what I was going through was post-traumatic stress disorder, and nobody figured that out, and nobody helped me with therapy. They just started drugging me.
Yep.
And I ended up in the hospital several times because of psychotic phases, because of depressive phases. I think it was horrible. And after I went through my spiritual awakening, I weaned myself off of all the, like, I was on Adderall, I was on mood stabilizers, I was on antipsychotics. I was on so much medication, and I weaned myself off. And I don't recommend doing that. Like, if you've been diagnosed with something and you're seeing a legit doctor, don't wean because I had my doctor was helping me wean myself off of this stuff. So I don't recommend, I'm not saying go off and wean yourself off.
Do this. A spiritual alignment's all you need.
Yes, all you need is spiritual alignment. That's not what I'm saying, because I wasn't even spiritually aligned 100% back then. I was way far off from where I am now, because that was a year ago, and a lot has happened in a year for sure. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you, that I wanted to bring up was, let's talk about the terms divine masculine and divine feminine, because, and although I don't find them to be bad, I don't find them to be bad, but I do find them very
constrictive.
Yes, and they still divide the sexes, and that bothers me, because it doesn't matter how much we say you can be a male and hold more of the divine feminine energy within you, being a male, and it doesn't mean that you're a gay man, right? Because I know men who are gay who hold the divine feminine energy, but I also know men who are straight and heterosexual and hold the divine feminine energy as well.
Which, while we're on the topic of labeling, it doesn't matter what you label yourself, like gay, straight, bisexual. It really genuinely doesn't matter. Your gender, your sexual preference, none of that defines what you label, like determine yourself as, whether you identify as more feminine or masculine.
Right, exactly.
Like,
that's exactly where I'm getting. Like, because I even know, especially as I came, I'm going to say I came into union with myself, because as I aligned with myself, and this is one of the things that I teach, as you align with yourself, you have to be, even though you've always kind of identified, like I've always identified more feminine, the chaser, if you will. So silly. See what I mean? How this all gets so convoluted.
It's just comical. Like, it just, like, I feel like, but that's what this is about. Like, just like the comedy of just, we take it so seriously,
and
like,
it doesn't have to be serious. Like,
no,
what's the big,
we're here to have fun. Twins just want to have fun.
And I even told Ryan today, I was like, you know, part of my job is to trigger you, and I don't like that that's part of my job, because I don't do it on purpose. Like, this is not something that's fun for me.
Well, remember we talked about that in our text message when you were like, oh, I just, you know, I have to be careful about what I say because I don't want him to get upset, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, you're supposed to trigger him, though. That he's supposed to trigger you. You're supposed to trigger him. And
yeah, and then he shocked me and said the same thing that you said. And
I'm convinced that Ryan's like my twin brother, and he's just as in syncy with me as you are.
Whatever.
In syncy. I don't think that's a word, but here we go.
So anyways, the whole divine masculine, divine feminine thing, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You can hold one or both of the energies. In fact, I am like pretty sure that Geminis, or people with heavy Gemini in their chart, both just automatically.
But I think that's the other thing too, is you should hold both. There should be a healthy balance of both within you. So it's like, if you're looking at, like, for me, I'll look at sometimes and be like, okay, I'm identifying as a more masculine this week. Like, I'm holding that energy more because I'm feeling more fiery and less nurturing. Like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm feeling very like
a little bit more logical about things, and then that's how I feel right now. I'm being like, you know what? You got to do things a certain way right now. Like, I don't even want to deal with the vulnerable side.
I said that to John earlier. I was like, oh, the reason I love working with Betsy is because she's just like me. She's so structured and very much like bam, bam, bam. And I know exactly what I'm getting, and I don't have to worry about it. And she knows my OCD, and she's OCD, and it's wonderful.
It is really super OCD time when Amanda, it's like, I would be scared for people to have to work with us.
Yeah.
When we have to start bringing other people into the mix, they're going to be like, oh no.
They're going to be like, what do you get? How do you all function without cracking?
Do you ever have fun? Oh yeah. All the time.
This is fun. Organizing is fun. I'm like, Monica.
See, I'm not that bad though. I've had to, well, and I think I used to be that bad, but I'm not like that anymore. I can't be that organized and structured.
Since you had kids.
Well, that, and I don't have time. Like, I legit, if I were as organized and structured as I used to be, I would literally never sleep. Like, I would never.
Speaking of, it's so weird. Like, I don't know why I was like, bing, just got like a ping popped into my head of needing to mention the fact that I feel like it's a common theme also within, like, we label it the dark night of the soul, but I feel like a lot of twins go through that period of like PTSD and anxiety and depression, and we all kind of have a general theme of that. And I feel like it's so important to acknowledge that, and it's so important to acknowledge that it's not, it's called the dark night of the soul, like, if you will, but it's more so you're just coming into alignment and realizing all of these things that you thought your entire life. Are you struggling over there? You good?
Yeah. I usually have other lip gloss on the table, and I have this one measly, like, you can, there's like nothing left in that thing.
A little drop.
But I had to, I mean, I've been so sick.
Yeah, that your lips are just dry.
I've been so incredibly sick. My mouth is really dry. So yeah, I was struggling. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No attention to the woman on the right side of the screen.
But yeah, I feel like it's one of those, like, I feel like it's such a common thing and people just dismiss it as the dark night of the soul and this, that, and the other without acknowledging the hard work that goes into overcoming that period of anxiety and depression and realizing, like, I had people look at me like I was nuts when I was like, no, I've got relationship PTSD. And I had people say that's not a real thing. No, it's a very, very
real thing.
Real thing. And like, it's a very real thing. And a lot of people go through it. And it's based on different triggers that we experience with different people. And it doesn't even have to be a sexual relationship or what's the word? Romantic. I was looking for that word and it wasn't
romantical.
Yeah. Romance, isn't it romantic? It doesn't have to be that. Like, it can be with your parents. It can be with your siblings. It can be with just friends and different people you encounter, but they leave very real scars and very real triggers within us that I think sometimes we forget to acknowledge how hard it is to work through those things.
It is extremely hard. And a good friend of mine is going through that, and he's been going through it for quite some time. And I've really been he's very much stuck in the whole 3D version of life. And he can't quite understand why he can't just be the happy, positive person that he used to be. Because he's always been, and he's such a good person. And these people there are some people in his life that are treating him very, very poorly, and there's no reason for it except to trigger him. Mm-hmm. And so he's going through this serious relationship PTSD, and I'm trying to walk him through it. And I keep saying, I keep telling him, I'm like, the best way for you to get out of this is to surrender and get vulnerable and understand that it's not you. It's happening to you for a reason. It's happening to you because you have some very old wounds when it comes to either these people or the situations that they're putting you in. Mm-hmm. And this is allowing you to heal yourself in a way. But if you don't let it happen and you just allow them to attack your emotions and not actually put a name and a face and acknowledge like what it is to that emotion, mm-hmm. you're never going to get past it. I mean, this is like that time where I've had to look at people and say, you've got to stop coming to me and expecting different results when you don't take my advice. Mm-hmm. Like, I've literally turned people away in the past who, which is really funny because I now know that when I was like in the throes of my bipolar at one point and I was really super manic and I kept on missing my psychiatrist appointment and not calling, and I would miss, and then he ended up firing me, and I was so angry with him. I was like, why would you fire a psych patient? Like, are you trying to put me back in the hospital? Like, that's so stupid. And then now I know. Now I understand why. Mm-hmm. Because if you continue to do something over and over and over again, or you continue to try and get help over and over and over again and expect for there to be a miracle without you working on yourself or changing a habit or changing something about what you do, mm-hmm. there's absolutely no way that you can heal from it at all. And so, I've actually had to turn people away before who have been in the dark night of the soul, who refuse during that time to see anything else but this.
I feel like calling it the dark night of the soul, and like, I don't disagree with the term necessarily, but at the same time, there is that level of like, it almost lessens what you're going through to insinuate that it's somehow, because dark night of the soul to me says it's this span of time to this span of time.
Oh, no. And it happens over and over.
Right. And I see so many people that are like, no, I went through the dark night of the soul. And I'm like, did you?
Yeah. You mean the first time?
Right, exactly. I'm like, which round are you on?
Yes.
Because I'm on round
I've lost
4,
count.
5.
I've lost count of how many dark night of the souls I've had to have. And I actually haven't had one in quite some time. And that's when you start to recognize that you finally started healing. Like, mm-hmm. healing yourself. I think the last dark night of the soul I went through was when I was really sick in December.
Yeah.
Because I haven't.
That was a bad one too.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally lost my voice.
Yeah.
Like, I was forced into silence so that I could heal.
Well, and I think it's funny because I feel like each time you go through it, you handle it a little bit better. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel like I'm handling my dark night of the soul because I'm currently I would say I'm semi going through one right now, but I'm not handling it the way that I did for my very first one.
No, the very first one, I mean, if we're going to be brutally honest about the very first Dark Night of the Soul, I literally was
laid in bed.
I was laying in bed.
Me too.
Well, but I was about ready to get in the bathtub, but I was laying in bed.
Betsy, stop.
I messaged.
We've never talked about this before. And
we never have.
Go ahead.
I messaged my karmic, which we can get into that label as well. My karmic, I messaged him and I was like, didn't expect him to pop online at the time that I was messaging him, but he did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was just coming over here to tell you that I love you. And it's really crazy. I mean, like, he literally stopped me because I like had a plan. I was like going to get rid of my life. I was done. So, I mean, and I can look back and kind of joke at it now, and it's no laughing matter. If you feel suicidal in any way, shape, or form, reach out to somebody, like 100%. Me, Amanda, I don't care who it is.
Yep.
If you need to reach out to somebody that you don't know for fear of your pride getting in the way or your ego getting in the way, we will 100% talk to you.
Anytime, any day.
We've both been in the position of wanting to no longer live. Like, that is, that's part of, for me, that was part of the process of needing to love myself enough to know that I was valuable enough to be alive.
And I've lost many people in my life to suicide, been suicidal myself. And I'm actually very big in the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. I do a lot of work with them, and we actually have an event coming up in September. So if anyone is in the DC area, let me know. We would love to have you there, and we will include the number for suicide prevention in the info box after this. But sorry, continue.
Anyway, so I mean, like, literally, he kind of, I mean, like, this is one of the reasons why I still very much value the part that he played in my life and in my awakening. And this was right after he was the catalyst to me. And it was probably like a month after we had like physically met, and I felt like I was dying. Like, I felt like a piece of me was dying when I had to leave him, and broke all sorts of parts of me open. And I literally, like, he literally saved my life that day because I had a plan. Like, I was done. I was ready to, like, be done with everything. That was my very first Dark Night of the Soul that I had to go through. I mean, it probably wasn't even a month after it was probably just a couple of weeks, I would think. All the time for the timeline.
I know. It's
like that was back in 2017, I want to say, or 16, something like that. 2016.
I want to say it was probably, if it was because we mirror each other so much, it was probably 2017.
Yeah.
Because it was
the summer of 2017. Yes, it was.
Was it May?
17. It was June. It was the end of, it was the end of June, beginning of July when that happened to me. But you've always been like a couple months ahead of me, or even like,
yeah,
like your lines are very similar, but like a block off.
Mine was May 6th, 2017. It's when John's ex-wife messaged me, and I was getting into the bathtub, and my messenger went off, and I was like, you know what? I'll read that later. And then something in me was like, no, read it now. And so I read it, and it triggered me and sent me into a dark night. It lasted, I mean, I would say that lasted May to November-ish.
Oh, see, mine only lasted until
granted, it got easier. It wasn't like I was constantly, like, I was in bed for a good month, like, where I just wouldn't get out of bed. I didn't go to work. I was just immobile. Like, I was crippled.
Oh, see, I didn't get that point. And I think the only reason why I didn't get to that point is because I knew I knew I had to go to work every day. Like, I'm a single mom, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I had already been in that position in my life before, and I'd always been the person to get up and go. Like, I never, I think the only time I ever allowed myself to slow down in life is when I was actually admitted to a hospital and forced psychotically to slow
I know. I was gonna say. I think like. So what are you saying? I'm like your psychotic medicine now, where I'm like, no, you need to take a day of the week off. Like,
she's forcing me now to take some time off.
You need to slow down. I will say that my dark night of the soul came at the same, like, it triggered at the same time. So May 6th was when it was triggered, and then my aunt died of lung cancer 2 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
And my friend killed himself a week after that. So I had all these different layers to my triggering that wasn't just a dark night of the soul dealing with my twin. It was like the universe said, you know what? We need to show you what you're capable of handling all at once and still pulling yourself through. Yeah. And because I always saw myself as weak and not being able to stand up and do things on my own. And the universe was like, all right, we're going to show you what a bad bitch you are.
Yeah. Well, and it's really funny because I always say, you know, I've been in that position so many times where I wanted to take my life. And I've actually been like in the process of doing so and always stopped. Like, there was always an intervention, not of my doing. Like, I never prompted anybody to intervene. I always chose, like, I'm such a planner that I always chose time. You know, it was ridiculous. I don't want to trigger anybody into like how to do it, but every single time I knew at some certain point that I was really just wasting my time, because obviously I was supposed to be alive. Otherwise, all of these times that I had tried, one of them would have worked. Mm-hmm. I mean, the chances of, and I could laugh at it now because it's like, you silly person. What were you thinking? And it is nice to be able to look back at that and be able, but I feel like the universe was trying to wake me up and throw me into the dark night of the soul over and over and over and over again. And finally it took bringing somebody into my life that was really energetically connected to me, to throw me over the edge, to throw me off the cliff, if you will. So, if you will, not fun, but worth it. And I'm like, again, like, if you have had a karmic twin flame, and that is a label that I have to use. Like, he's my karmic twin flame. Like, that's the only way that I really know how to put it. Because we were so energetically connected that for 2 years, I truly believed that he was my twin flame. And it wasn't, it was because there was so much love there. It was never like, he never, how do I put this? He never like abused me. He never treated me poorly on purpose. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like, he was never, he still did treat me poorly, but it was never out of spite or anger.
And I think that's something that's very common, that I think we all need to acknowledge that whoever you're dealing with, if they're your truth twin, your karmic twin, whatever you want to call them, I don't think any of them ever trigger us or do anything intentionally to hurt us.
Right.
It's very, very rare that I've ever encountered someone who truly has someone that is intentionally trying to harm them or bring them some sort of pain and suffering.
Well, and I have heard of one or two karmic twin flames where they were so narcissistic that they were purposely trying to hurt the person, and they were abusive, like physically abusive.
Right.
If you're in that kind of thing and you feel like it's a twin flame relationship, I'm going to tell you right now that it probably is not. Mm-mm. I don't care what people say. I don't care if your twin flame can be I honestly would say that is a karmic.
Yeah.
Because for me, the true twin flame experience, the true twin flame in your life, will trigger you, but will trigger you for growth, will not trigger you in a way where they are being harmful to you in any way, shape, or form. It's a push for growth. It's a And they're also triggering themselves at the same time, which is which I've noticed in your case. They trigger you, but he's also triggering himself at the same time.
And here's my like take on it, and kind of what I've come to through sitting with it is it's almost like he triggers me so that I trigger him.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he intentionally does it. He doesn't sit back and think, you know what? I'm going to do this today because I know this is what's going to happen. He subconsciously does something knowing that I will find out, or knowing that this, that, and the other. And in turn, it's going to trigger him into doing the work that he needs to do.
So, which brings me to the topic that everybody asks. How do you know it's a true twin? And how do you know it's a karmic twin? Okay. In my experience, and I'm going to preface this with everybody's journey is different. So you really have to listen to your intuition 100%. That doesn't mean you listen to your ego. That doesn't mean that you listen to Betsy's story and you're like, oh, no, my story's nothing like that. And then a year later, you look back at Betsy's story and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was going through. Why didn't I see it then? The reason why you're going through what you're going through right now is because this is what your soul purpose is you're supposed to be going down this path. You're supposed to be learning from a certain situation that you're in right now. Everybody's journey is different. This is what my journey was. This is what I recognized, how I recognized my karmic versus my true twin. First of all, I didn't realize that my karmic was my karmic until literally weeks before Ryan showed up. Like, I mean, I could probably count down to the day that I realized, oh, damn, he was a karmic all this time. And I'd always questioned it.
And you said it all the time.
Yeah. I was like, and the funny thing is I would say to Amanda, and she's like, no, that's just your ego trying to tell you, you're like trying to run away from the situation. You're the runner right now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but he's not chasing after me. So how am I the runner? But, which brings me like to the whole, how is there a bug in here? I must have had the window open earlier. There was like a bug flying around in here. So what I recognize is I cut off contact with my karmic at one point towards the end of last year. It was in the fall. And I said, I need to have a break. I need to have some time apart. I can't do this anymore. Like, this isn't healthy for me. I was recognizing that I needed to grow in some way, shape, or form. And I was not able to do that being in contact with him.
And even that was really hard for you. It
was. I actually wrote the letter, and it took, and I had to sit with the letter for a week before I sent it because it was very hard and like, this is why it's hard to differentiate between the two as well, because you're 99% energetically connected to your karmic twin flame. And that 1%, there's that bug. I got it. I know. I feel really bad that I just did that. Like,
on camera, you just killed something on camera. It's okay. We'll pray for it. We'll start a Facebook hashtag.
I'm a murderer. It was annoying me. That was just like, I didn't even have to try.
It's kind of the mood for today where everything's just annoying us and we're like, just stop it. Stop.
Just stop. And now I really want to wash my hand too. So I cut off contact with him because I needed to grow and I needed to release myself. And I knew that he never would. I knew that he did not have the strength. And he even said to me, he's like, if you don't want me in your life, you're going to have to be the one that does it because I won't be strong enough to do it. So I cut off contact with him. And then like 2 months later, when I was really sick in like the beginning of December, I got really sick. I contacted him to see how he was doing. I wanted to wish him well. Christmas time is a really hard time for him for personal reasons. And I wanted to just let him know that I was thinking about him. And I was basically treated very poorly and ignored, like shut down big time. And I was like, oh, damn. Okay. That answered my question. And I blocked him. Like, blocked him. And in that moment, I said to myself, he is a karmic. There's absolutely no way. There was no love in that. There was no respect in that. There was nothing that I needed him to be there for me at that moment. And I was reaching out to be there for him at that moment. And there was like nothing there anymore. And when I recognized that, I was like, oh, okay, that was the answer I needed. I was angry, to say the least.
A little bit. I remember, oh my gosh, the amount of text messages. I was like, look, I'm really sorry, but like, I just haven't slept because of baby and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, no, I'm sorry to burden you. And I was like, no, keep texting me. Just text it out, vent it out. Like,
yeah, I felt really, literally, Duncan was like brand new, like days old.
Fresh,
brand new. And I got well, and I know that sickness was all about me purging all of the negative energy that I'd held on to all through 2018. Because it was really rough. Like, I almost ended up in the hospital. Like, it was bad. Mm-hmm. So I purged all of that out, and I allowed myself to heal. And then literally 2 weeks later, Ryan showed up. And the funny thing is, he'd actually showed up prior to that, like in November, around Thanksgiving time frame. And so it was already like planted. The seed was already planted. It was already there. And then when he showed up, and I was like, I can't ignore it now. 2 weeks later, after that had happened, I couldn't ignore it anymore. So, it was very, very, and with Ryan, I haven't questioned it at all. Like, not once. It's so completely different. And he knows that he triggers me. Like, I've made it aware. I am very open with him, and we talk it out. We work.
But I also think it's important to acknowledge, like, even if you do question it, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's not your twin.
Right.
Because like for me, I questioned it because I was like, how, like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Like, and that was my ego talking. And that was me not fully settling into like who I was. But I think it's when you come into alignment that you stop questioning things. Yes, so you had come into alignment. And so you stop questioning things.
That's what it took for me. And that's why I say everybody's journey is different, because some people, like Amanda on her journey, she's gone through all of her triggers with her twin flame. I had to have a karmic to go through my triggers. And I always say, like, the first 40 years of me and Ryan's lives were the separation period, because up until, like, we had to go through all of the shit in life, you know? And like now, I feel like I've actually been a catalyst to push him forward through a very rapid awakening process as well. So,
well, you and I are similar in that too. Like, we had to be the catalyst to our twins' awakenings, and or whatever you want to call them.
But we had to be in alignment with ourselves and what our truth path was first, before that could even happen. Before that catalyst could even happen.
Because, and I honestly feel like that's the case with a lot of, like, there's always that one, I think that is the one thing on the checklist that is normally true, is one twin awakens before the other.
Oh yeah.
And like, that is one thing. If you have your checklist, you can check that off, and that's a true thing. But
I really do think that one twin is further along in their spiritual journey than the other one, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's my question with that. Oh, I lost it. It was right there.
What is going? You've been doing this like all week. Like, you've been
I have the worst memory. I'm telling you, like, my memory every day. Like, I look younger than I did a year ago, but my memory is like a 90-year-old woman. Like, I cannot for the life of me. And I do it all the time. I mean, it happens to me all the time. It's because I'm trying. So, and this is the thing, I feel like what it is I try to live in the 3D world still and try to remember things. Like, I've forgotten my past. Like, there are a lot of childhood memories where my mom was talking to me and I was like, I don't remember that. And she's like, we just talked about this like 2 months ago.
Just told John this the other day that, like, maybe that's it. Like, we've never talked about this before, but I was like, what's the earliest memory that you have? And we just started having a conversation in the car, and I was like, yeah, I don't have a lot of memories of my childhood.
I used to.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I remember having a conversation with my mom, years ago about one of my first memories. And it was like when I was like in kindergarten, or not kindergarten, it was when I was in preschool. And I was a very young, like I started kindergarten at 4. So preschool had to have been like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And who remembers anything at 3 years old? But ever since my spiritual awakening and all the stuff that I have to know now, like with astrology and with tarot, and I think what it is like all the information that I get from everybody all day long that comes into my brain. I mean, I do a lot of writing. I write a lot of information out with people because I don't want to forget for their next session that I do with them. But I literally, like, I've had to make space.
I think I just kind of released like a lot of like the 3D memories and stuff like that. Like there's stuff that is important that I remember, but like for the most part, all the insignificant 3D memories, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like they're not serving a purpose, and I work on this level and that's on this level.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I feel.
I don't know. It's very strange.
Like if I can't connect on a soul level, then I don't really remember it.
I think it had to do something with the awakening process with the counterpart. I don't remember. Anyways, that's going to drive me crazy that I can't remember that now. How funny.
I was going to say I'll remember it afterward.
I want to know if other people are going through that, if other people are losing their memories too.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of sucks. Like, I don't want to forget things with the boys. I take so many pictures. The boys hate it. I take so many pictures and so many videos, and they're like, God, get that camera out of my face. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm going to forget someday, and I want to be able to have proof that we did.
Yep. I literally just looked.
That
I sent it to John the other day, a video of Duncan, 4 days old, like in his little rock and play.
Yeah.
And because I was so not irritated, that's not the right word. I was so like, he had his first like blowout in the rock and play, and I had to like, being a single mom for a week, I don't know how you do it. Like I just genuinely, like he had a blowout in the rock and play. I like had to take all of that out, and I didn't even notice it until I picked him up, and I was like, why are you sliding down my arm? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, here we are. I love the blowout. So, so just to let you guys know, the reason why she was a single mom for a week is because John was out of town.
Oh yeah, he left me for 1 week. That's it. He was like, "Try it and see how."
Yeah. He's like, "No, I'm gone for a week. You just be a single mom and see how that works out for you."
He's like, "I need a vacay."
Yeah, no, that's not what happened.
No.
I had to make sure that everybody was on the same page there.
Yeah, right. So like just like looking at that, and I like then I put everything back in the rock and play after it was washed, and I put him in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you're so big in this now. And I was just like scrolling through, and I was like, look at how little he was, and sent it to John. And I was like, you don't realize just these little things that you forget until
right. And
it's too late.
I have a 16-year-old and an 18. I mean, like they're turning 16 and 18 in June, like within a couple of weeks of each other. And I am like I can't. I mean, I have Jack still, so he's like my saving grace. I still have.
He's a little mini you because he looks exactly like you.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. But yeah, so it's really interesting. I don't want to forget them. I don't want to forget. Those are the memories I don't want to forget. Mm-hmm. Everything else can just really go away.
I think, what is it called? Like psychic amnesia?
Yeah.
Is that? Like, I feel like that's...
There's another label we can use, psychic amnesia.
Yeah.
What are the other twin flame labels that we...
Yeah, I'd be curious to like other labels and what other people think of the labels.
I feel like we're missing some, but I can't think of any. Like the separation, you know, the whole... Because I feel like separation is just an illusion. There's nothing a separation. It's
oh my God.
It's really just a time of growth.
I saw one.
Poof. Oh my God. You know what's really funny? When I hit 40, I'm just wondering, like, the midlife crisis I'm going to go through. I'm actually not. I won't go through a midlife crisis. Do you know what?
I will.
I really I was so happy to turn 30. Like, I was super excited because my 20s, when everybody was going to college and having a really good time, I decided that it would be really fun to have 2 babies, get married, and get divorced before I was 25.
It didn't freeze. Like, that was legitimately like my face on that, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, cool, I'll be 29 in June. And John, what did he say the other day? He said something about, he was like, oh, and the kids. And I was like, are we getting ghosts?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, we have 1 child and he is perfect, so we're just gonna stay with that.
So like, plural is no longer. And you know what's really funny is I never wanted children. I told you that. I think I told you.
I don't think you did.
When I was 19 and a model and doing whatever the hell I wanted to do, because I was so responsible in high school. After I graduated high school, I kind of went wild. Like, wild, like really wild. And I decided I was going to be a model, and I worked really, really hard at it. And I didn't want to have kids. I was like, nope, this is a lifestyle I'm going to have. I'm going to do that, because being a model, you can be a model until you're 112 and people still care. No.
Especially with Instagram now.
But when you're 19, that's what you literally think that being a model is going to be your lifestyle when you're 19 and you're a model, and people just take you under their wing and they do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to do, and said that I wasn't going to have children, and then my body had other plans because both my first and second son were both conceived on the pill. They were both pill babies. So it's not that I wasn't trying to I was trying to not have children, and here they come. So that's when we found out that the pill did not work for me. And yeah, I mean, I had them literally almost 2 years apart. Like, they were in like a timeline. Like, I see that as being very much a timeline, that this was supposed to happen in that kind of time frame. And then I said I wasn't going to have any more after those 2. I wanted to get fixed, but I was in my 20s and my doctors wouldn't let me, because they don't let you do that in your 20s, which is stupid, because I'm like, but it's
your body.
Right. I already have to. They did it for they fixed my mom after she had me, but it's because the doctor said she couldn't because of health reasons. But like any healthy viral woman, they won't. Viral woman, they won't. Viral woman, that too. Anyway, so yeah.
Which is funny, because I was the complete opposite, where I wanted kids so badly and was told that I wasn't going to be able to have them without a lot of intervention, and started all the oils and stuff. And it was a month.
The oils.
A month after I started the oils, I was pregnant.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's funny.
A success story right there.
Right. And it's funny because, we were talking about this. Well, that kind of goes along with the theme of what we were talking about earlier, where you were coming into union is so much harder than.
Oh my gosh. And I wanted to talk about that. And
I know.
Well,
but it makes sense now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it. I'm when you start getting all of these things that you ever wanted, I was I always wanted babies and this, that, and the other. And now that I have them, I'm I'm having, I'm having that period of, and I think this is something that's not commonly talked about and no mom ever wants to admit. So I'm sorry if I'm triggering moms out there everywhere, where I say it's hard that I'm at that place where I miss my old life. I miss going and being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I miss being able to not have to worry about finding someone to watch our child to go to CrossFit just to work out. I miss, it not being a hassle to just leave the house,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not something that's commonly talked about because nobody wants to admit that it's a struggle and it's hard, and you do miss your old life.
It's not this, and I am 100% on board with fathers that are hands-on, because I think I love, and I've never had a problem with that in my life. Both of the boys' dads, I call them my baby daddies. Both of the baby, even though I was married to both of them. Thank you very much. Both of my baby daddies were very hands-on. They're still very hands-on. It's all 50-50 custody. Like there are no arguments when it comes to the children. They're very well taken care of. But it's, even though there are hands-on men, 100% the women's lives change more dramatically, I would say, than the men's do.
Which has been a trigger in my harmonious union.
It always is, because that was a trigger because like, I wasn't even in union with my twin, you know, I mean, it's like that I was even triggered. Like, why does my life have to change so much? And you get to see.
Yep.
Hi. I mean,
which I will say, John is the very rare case of being the amazing man that he is and taking night shift so that I can sleep during the night, and he takes care of Rue during the night. And it's an amazing feeling. But there again, my life has changed. And I remember there being that period of time when I was pregnant, and I looked at him at one point because he I forget, he made some comment about me always being irritable and this, that, and the other, not in a negative way, but just in a way of like
an observation.
Yeah, he was like, you're just really irritable. And he was like, you snap at me more. And this, and I was like, because my entire life has changed. My whole body has changed. Everything is different. And you get to go out with the guys and do whatever you want when you want. And I had to give up horseback ride. I had to give up everything that I do to give my body up for this child.
Right.
And it's funny because I feel like that's something that sometimes we don't acknowledge, that, you know, you do have to give everything up for your child, whereas
women are very much okay with giving their entire lives up for the child, like very much okay with it. And kudos. And
you're super moms.
And people have called, I mean, like, you look at me and you're like, I don't know how you've been a single mom. I've been a single mom more than I haven't been a single mom in my life. Because if you really look at it, I've been a mom for 18 years, almost 20 years, you know, I mean, I was pregnant for 9 months. So literally 19 years of my life has not been my own. But you get to a place where you can have that. You do get yourself back. You know how everybody says you have to put your children first?
Yep.
No.
That's something I'm learning. I'm like, if I don't put me first, then he's not going to be well.
And I don't mean that where you feed yourself before you feed your child.
Right. No.
I mean that in the sense of when you're on an airplane, you put the mask on yourself first so you can help your child.
Yes.
I mean that in the sense of if mommy doesn't have an hour to herself where she's taking a bath, where she's allowing herself to chill out, where she's breathing, where she's meditating, where she's eating, learning how to eat healthy, where she's working out, where she's doing things, going to the mall, getting her hair done. I don't care what you do.
Watching Jane the Virgin.
Right. If you need to watch a couple hours of TV, do it.
Yep.
Because you do give yourself away. And that's one of the things. Oh, I was going to ask you, this is what I wanted to ask you. This is what I wanted to bring up. I feel like a lot of times when we go through the union phase and we're doing the dark night of the soul and then we come into the union phase, there's this codependence that you have to break away from.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people get very, very codependent on their twins' energy. A lot of people, and I've noticed that I started to do that with Ryan. And I realized when I was doing it, you've seen me because I'll flip out. He doesn't even know sometimes that he's triggered me. I actually had to tell him. And then I felt really bad about it because I'm like, I was like, you didn't even do anything. Like, honestly,
and it's typically, they don't. Yeah.
You not doing anything is what triggered me.
Right.
And it's not even like, that's not even your fault. It's my fault. It's something I need to work through so that I didn't even drag you into it. And, which is nice because we're in an adult relationship. It was very fun to realize when you don't drag somebody into your own bullshit, you're actually in an adult relationship. It's pretty cool.
It's healthy.
It is healthy. But at the same time, it was like, I started to realize where I was falling into that codependent way. And you do that. You have to really break yourself apart in that. And being a mom, like going back to the mom thing.
Yeah.
Codependence with your children.
Yep.
And you have to break away from it. You are an individual.
And it's funny that like everything happens how it does, because I'm learning how to teach Duncan how to be this independent being while also still he obviously still needs me. I don't want people to think I just neglect my child all day. I'm like, you're on your own, kid. Here's a bottle. Like, right?
No.
Do it on your own.
You don't.
Yeah, right? But it's about nurturing him, and I'm learning how to do that. And it's kind of mirroring in my relationship with John, as I'm nurturing Duncan while also trying to establish this independence in him and encouraging that. And I feel like it's the same thing when you're in your relationship with your twin, is that you feed off of each other's energy so much that you have to learn to differentiate your energy from their energy, and not let them take your energy, and vice versa, not take their energy when you need it, because you have to learn to build that on your own separately. And I think we get so caught up in, again, the label of, well, they're my twins, so we're supposed to bounce off each other. And yes, that's great.
Well, and how do you know that it really is your twin? Is the more that you grow, they're growing right with you.
Right.
And even if they grow at a slower pace than you do, because a lot of, especially from the divine masculine side, and I'm not throwing shade at the divine masculines, it just is the way it is, because divine feminines can be more vulnerable, they're more open to changing, and they're more open to growth.
Because that's what society teaches our entire lives, is that's nurtured within us, whereas...
But I don't even mean women, I just mean the feminine side.
No, but that's what I'm saying, like, if you're more feminine, that is more nurtured, whereas being more masculine is kind of not as accepted.
Yeah, you're like shut down, like you're told to be shut down, and you don't get to have feelings.
And that's balancing in every single one of us, like
so in the way that and I don't even think I ever finished that part, but the way that you know that it's a karmic versus a true twin is, as you grow, your true twin will grow too. Even in the hardest parts, like they'll recognize that they need to grow, and they'll recognize how to do it. Even if they don't have the little push from you to do it, they'll still recognize that they need to do it. It's like an automatic, that cord that's attached to you guys, that's what's never severed, is the growth and the pulling each other along in it. And it's not a codependent growth. It's an independent growth, but you guys are still growing together. It's very interesting. But if it's a karmic, as you're growing, they just naturally fall away. Yeah. And I mean, I would be lying if I said I still don't feel my karmic's energy, or know when he's thinking about me, because that's actually been happening quite a bit lately. And I have to be the person that's like, well, I hope he's doing well, and wish him luck, and then move on. Yeah. Because a lot of people will come to me and they're like, but why does he keep showing up in my dreams? Why does he keep showing up in my head? Why is this? Why is this? Why is this? And I'm like, because you were energetically connected to him. And that's what happens when we have an energetic field between the two people. You can have an energetic cord. I think of my ex-husbands quite often. Like my first ex-husband and I, he's one of my best friends. And things will be happening to him. And I'll text him and be like, man, I was thinking about you today. Are you doing okay? And he's like, damn, how do you do that? And I'm like, we have 2 children that we've been raising for the last 18 years. How do I do that? I don't know. We have this energetic connection. It's not like, just because you can't stop thinking about somebody doesn't mean they're your twin.
Well, there's something that we learned in my mediumship class also that is, I think, I kind of subscribe to it. I do believe that people, when they leave those energetic imprints in your aura, like, it's like when they pass away, they take a piece of that aura with them, and that needs to be healed. That needs to be, but think about it. These people that leave energetic imprints, they haven't passed on. So they haven't taken that piece of their aura with them, because they're still here existing. So they're always going to be within your auric field.
And you can clear that auric field out to make it dimmer, to make that part of your life. Like, that's how you can release old people from your, like, old relationships from your life, is you clear that energy. And how do you clear that energy? You grow. Yep. The more you grow and the more you focus on yourself, the more they will fade away. I 100% guarantee you. And it's not that because I still think about, like, boyfriends that I dated in high school and wonder how they're doing. And it's because I don't have any ill will towards anybody really that I've dated. even though some of them treated me pretty poorly, I'm just a person that doesn't hold a grudge. So
You are.
I'm like the opposite grudge holder. Like I hold love space for everyone, even if you've treated me like crap. Don't try it because I have people. I know people. Amanda is one of them. But
I think you said that like the other day. You were like, I'm a lot harsher than you are in certain which is funny. Like, because you would think like you would be like, because I'm very much like, I'm Libra and Cancer, so you would think I'm very much like nurturing and this, that, and the other, but
I'm Libra and Virgo. I mean, that's like, I'm basically a wet rag.
Basically a wet rag.
Should we wrap this up?
I think so. I think we've been on here for quite some time, and I'm sitting here like, stop yawning, Amanda. Stop yawning.
Oh, I didn't even notice you were yawning.
Good. I'm glad because I felt bad about it.
So we had to do this late because I was sick this weekend. As you can tell, I'm still trying to clear it up in my lungs. So we'll be on time this week, I think Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Unless something happens.
No, nothing's going to happen. I'm going to put it on the calendar and we're in it.
Hopefully nothing happens to me too.
Yeah. But I do want to know what other terms we forgot so that we can cover those if
yeah, I feel like this needs another discussion.
Yeah. So
again, we kind of like branched off into other ways.
Yeah. But I would like to know other people's like thoughts on the terms and yes.
So if you have any other ideas, terms, just things that you're wondering about the twin flame journey that you really want to get our take on.
Yeah. Without having to like pay for a reading or anything like that. We got you.
Just put it down in the description box and we will work on those. Also, people have been asking me, where are all of my twin flame energy updates? If you would like to subscribe and become a patron on Patreon, let's put that link below. And there are 3 different tiers you can choose from. You can choose from the basic tier, which doesn't include the twin flame readings. You can pick only twin flame readings, or you can do what's called everything and more, where you get all of the extended readings that I do on my channel, all the extended love readings I do on my channel, all the extended 2019 forecast readings, like for every single sign. And you also get the twin flame energy updates that I really try to do weekly unless something comes up. I do try to do at least 4 twin flame energy updates every month. So it's actually a really good bang for your buck because that's a lot of content. Because if you were to buy those individually, we're talking like at least $60, $70 a month just to buy those individually. So
worth it.
Yeah. And I don't even like the twin flame. It's just exclusive to Patreon. I don't even sell them individually anywhere else. So if you would like to have the twin flame energy updates that I used to put on my channel all the time, that's where you're going to go. Information is in the description box. And yeah, this was really fun. I'm glad that
I was going to say, this may have been my like favorite video yet.
I think it might be me too.
Yeah.
I was in a really bad mood before we started.
I was going to say, and if anybody else was in a bad mood today, can you please comment so we don't think it's just us and that we were just on here like, should we do this? I guess we should do this.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have the suicide prevention stuff below and the twin flame Patreon stuff below. And please leave your comments and let us know what you want to know about on this really fun, serious twin.
And if you need oils, you can contact either Betsy or I, but I will most likely be handling the coaching for any of that. If you have any questions about oils, if you want to know what oils you need, if you want a reading on what oils you could use, I got you.
Yeah, she does readings for the essential oils. And we're going to end it with that. Have a really great week. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.